Hey, 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 it's Nicole and Tris for Faithful Business Networking. How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was really good, although I'm trying to think what I did at the weekend. How was yours?
I had a magnificent one.
Oh.
Yes, because in the office we put up Christmas tree decorations, so that was exciting.
Oh, that's true. Yes, it's looking very Christmassy here at the moment.
Yes.
Yep.
It was fun. We had children doing it as well, so that's always fun. And did some organising and did some relaxing, self-care.
Yep.
That was important as well.
Lots of self-care, I think, this weekend.
Yeah? You did that too?
Yep. Very cool.
That is very important, especially for mental health, isn't it?
It is. It's good to have a bit of a rest. I think Saturday I've had a pretty rough week last week with my dad in hospital, and Saturday I just hit the wall because Dad started to improve on Saturday. So I hit the wall and I was just like, I need to go home and just relax.
I know. I'm so happy that you did, because it was really tiring, right? And being at the hospital.
Yeah, and going in there and worrying and stressing and all that stuff. So.
And there's so much things to remember and think about. Because Dad doesn't,
He doesn't like hospital food, so I actually cooked him some chips at home and took them to the hospital and then got the nurses to reheat them for him. So
yeah.
It's random things you do.
They don't give him enough tea either.
No.
So you have to get your kettle in again or something.
That's it, absolutely. So we do have a special guest today, and we're going straight into the interview.
We are.
Which is really cool. So Carlos Garcia, is that?
Yes.
That's correct.
That's right. That's
Morning, Rockingham.
Yep. So how are you going first?
Fantastic. I'm having a great morning. And I'm here with you two.
Well, you can't get better than that, can you? It's a good way to start Monday morning.
Definitely.
So we've met you before at, I think it was a Port Kennedy event with the City of Rockingham, and you did an interview.
Yeah.
So you just want to share us a little bit more about who you are and what you've been doing.
Sure. Well, I'm a local. I live in Safety Bay. I'm a member of Rotary in Rockingham, and I'm also a massive advocate for men's mental health. So I run a barbecue once a month in Safety Bay, every second Sunday, called Mr. Perfect. You might have seen it on Facebook pop up here and there.
Yep, I think now that I've been paying more attention to it, it's been showing up a lot more in my feed, which is the way the algorithm works, I guess.
Yes. And when I first met you, I didn't really get it because it said Mr. Perfect. So I was a bit, because your shirt said that. So then I thought that's a bold statement, right?
Oh, yes.
And then the guy next to you was also wearing the same shirt. So then I realized there's some type of crew thing happening here. And then I wanted to know more about it. Would you like to tell us more about it?
Oh, sure.
What it means?
Some people ask about the name. They say, what's this Mr. Perfect business? And they stop and they look at the sign and whatever. But it's about that person that we portray ourselves to be out in the workplace, how we show up for work, for our partners, for our community. And we may come across perfectly dressed, perfectly together. But behind the scenes, a lot of people do struggle with mental health. And it's not just men, it's also women, it's everybody. There could be some anxiety, some depression, a lot of feelings that you can't see those feelings that people are really struggling with. And that's why it's Mr. Perfect, because out there in the community, we portray ourselves as Mr. Perfect sometimes.
Wow. I like that because particularly men, I think women are a bit more honest about how they're going, but men we do tend to put on an act and pretend life's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So look, I've certainly identified with that in the past. I've had some ups and downs in my life, and when this came along for me, I thought, well, this is it. This is exactly what I need to align with. Yeah.
And is it about reaching out to men to encourage them to be honest and real? Is that what the message is about?
I think the message is to start a conversation initially.
Yeah.
I find a lot of men become very isolated, especially as they get older. All they know is their family or their partners, and they forget how to make friends. And there's so many of them out there. So I find when they come to these barbecues, they start with a small chat, and slowly they start to open up about their experiences and their lives and what's going on for them. And that's where it is. It's just starting that conversation. And then if they need support, obviously there's guys around that we can help with a few things they're going through.
So do you have counsellors or people like that on board?
No. It's not a counselling service at all. I'm not a counsellor, and there isn't anybody there. But if there was anybody in crisis, we are trained to connect them to people immediately or in the short term. But it's really just a safe space to be yourself. Yeah. And it's just a bit of a hangout, really. We have a great time. It's alcohol free.
Yeah.
There's none of that sort of business.
Yeah.
No smoking or anything like that. It's just some good music, a few snags on the barbecue there, and great conversation.
Wow, that sounds really perfect.
Choosing the right name.
Wow. So what types of issues or what types of conversations come about when you're there?
Look, they can generally be pretty lighthearted about what's going on in your life. How are you going, mate? What's going on? What have you done this week? And generally it's an upbeat. I try to make it a very positive experience. I play some music and go around and check on everybody. On the odd occasion you might see somebody a little bit more reserved, or somebody that's got something on their mind. And there may be conversations, there have been conversations of, look, I'm going through a separation, or I've been through a separation. I've been with my partner for 50 years and we're separating. I don't know her anymore. I don't know the woman I'm dealing with now. I've dealt with widowers, people that are just are living alone, and they lack that community connection. And there's so much in those conversations. These guys have so much life experience. They have got so much to share. They just need that connection to make it happen.
And it's tapping into that wealth of that life experience, I guess, isn't it? So, like, if someone does turn up with baggage, if you can call it that, with stuff that they're going through, then there's someone probably going to be there that's maybe experienced something similar.
Exactly.
I think that's
exactly right. And sometimes they just need an ear, and that's completely fine. They tend to find their level. They tend to sort of gravitate to different personality types. And I just sort of go around and tend to them all to make sure they're okay, they're comfortable, they're hydrated, they've got a snag in their hands.
That's what it's all about, isn't it, right?
But it's been interesting watching the progress of some men over time, because I've got some regular patrons, probably about 30% of them are regulars that come every month. And I've seen them through ups and downs. And every month we sort of check in on them to see where they're up to. And so far, so good. I see some positive steps every single month. Bigger smiles on their faces.
Oh, that's good. That must be very rewarding.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a great community, and it's not just in Safety Bay. I set up the barbecue in Safety Bay because there isn't very much that goes on the south, on the south side in terms of events. Even on the Meetup app, I couldn't find very much. There is other barbecues around Perth. There's one up in Mullaloo, one in Cannington, South Perth, in Maylands, and now in Kalamunda, of course, which we started up again yesterday. But the Mr. Perfect barbecues are Australia-wide. They run at the same time.
Is it an Australian organisation? Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
What's the story behind why they set it up?
So very similar. Well, very similar story to what I described earlier. The founder, a gentleman called John Mooney. He found himself being Mr. Perfect in life and really struggling behind the scenes, struggling with anxiety and depression, and inevitably it led to a breakdown. And I've been there a few times in my life as well. And that's what he set up. He set up Mr. Perfect and started to help men that way, so that men can find support, because generally men don't look for it. They just don't. We try to do it ourselves, and so that's the story behind it. Yeah, it's very similar. I resonate with it, and there is so many barbecues around Australia, and I'm privileged to have the Safety Bay barbecue. Yeah.
Wow.
I think the stigma around men not being able to talk about their feelings. I've got a son, and so I encourage him to talk about what he's feeling. Some other type of techniques can be, suck it up, that kind of thing, or you don't cry, but that's actually not a thing. Well, it shouldn't be a thing. My son's gone through a lot of things that actually make him quite brave and quite resilient. And he actually even gives, words of wisdom to older people. So I think that if I had that way of talking to him, it might have made him think, okay, he doesn't have the confidence to be able to impart information onto people. So when we think about how society does see men, how they're supposed to be a certain way, or if they have a meltdown or whatever, or however they're not self-regulating themselves and all that, then what would you encourage them to do, or what would you like to impart on society about that?
Well, I think, and there's a lot of organisations. Mr. Perfect's just one of them. It's a safe space. It's a container where you can start a conversation, where you can talk openly without judgment. You're free to be who you are, and that's what I truly encourage, because I think that's when the authentic person starts to come through. That to me, that's so important. That's the example I try to lead with, and I try to honour my mentors. I mean, the Mr. Perfect barbecues. I've had gentlemen up into their late 80s, early 90s, and even toddlers come. It's a completely broad spectrum, but everybody has something to share. Everybody's got something to say, and it's valuable. And that's what I want to do. I want to encourage that conversation to start.
And I love, lately I've been doing a lot about, people being authentic to themselves. And so what does that look like to you, please?
Sorry?
What does it look like to you when you explain to be your authentic self? What is that actually, if someone's not normally used to being authentic to themselves, then how is it that they can, it's like a stronghold that they've got in their mind of, I can't do this, I can't do that. Those kinds of things. So how do you get them to help them unlock, or what words would you want to tell them to be their authentic self? What does that actually mean to a man?
Okay, sure.
Well,
on the surface, obviously we can't be dressed in our pyjamas when we go to work. That's okay not to be, dressed in your pyjamas.
Unless it's pyjama day.
Unless it's pyjama day.
Yeah.
If that's your authentic self in your pyjamas,
that is not my authentic self.
To me, the challenge is to be the same person everywhere you go. In all of the circles you run with, whether it's your friends, your family, you're with your partner, your professional circles. You're the same person. You're not putting on anything extra or a fake personality in front of you. And look, it's okay for us all to have bad days, ups and downs. Sometimes we're happier than other days. But as adults, we try to learn to regulate our emotions and control our emotions. So the human side aside, as long as we can be that same person, have that plumb line, that consistency throughout our lives, that integrity, I think it is your authentic self. It's your.
I think one of the problems often I found, if you kind of put on an act and you pretend everything is good, but that's not really you and you're not being authentic, that causes a lot of inner resentment. I feel like, because you kind of almost hate yourself because you're not being honest.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be really harmful to your mental health overall.
Well, it burns a lot of energy, a lot of emotional energy to keep up a facade.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're trying to be yourself, whether you're up or down, but as long as yourself, you actually find you have more energy. And that's a comment that people make to me all the time. Like, you do so much, where you're everywhere in Perth doing this and that.
Yes.
I try to always run on that energy of not having to burn any other false energy, so to speak.
And just being yourself.
Yes.
Which is cool.
That is so important, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I totally resonate with that. I go to all these different events and, and you do pick up on energy and... Then I have to get into my own zone and get back to my energy, or get back to my... Obviously, I can, be in your situation where you're counselling... Well, not counselling, but, mentoring people. And you can
good word.
be in that space, and then that's fine. But then going back to, okay... getting back into who you really are, how because so if I'm like totally always excited, right, and talking like that,
which you are,
right, yeah, I can do that. But then if I go to like say a board meeting, I can't do that because it's like socially inappropriate. Unless it's like they know they're going to talk about something that I'm getting excited about, then I can't really contain that. But and then when I'm counselling people, I need to be on a different, way. I can't be always positive because not all situations are. Like when my mum was passing away, I really had to ask, okay, this is what she's saying, and she wants to die, and I was like, I don't know what to say to that because I do the flip side of, being positive, right? So I had to learn what to say to that, and so I had to say, that must be really, that sucks that you're feeling that way. Or
sometimes you don't have to say anything. Sometimes
just be in there.
Just listen.
Just listen.
Just listen. Yeah, and that's okay too. You know?
Yeah.
I found I don't have all the answers to. I mean, it's just me. I don't know anything, really. But if you just listen to people, sometimes that's where it is. They just want that. They want to express themselves and know that it's okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not about solving the problem as well.
No.
Is it? Sometimes it's just letting them just vent. You know, just
you're married, man.
release. Damn it. Yeah. Just letting them. You know, just
that's
talk.
okay too. I think that forms part of really good friendships if you can be that way for your friends. So
That's so true.
And your connections, just letting people speak, letting them speak their truth.
That's awesome.
So I think where I was going with my one was, so you can be your authentic self and obviously change within the settings.
Sure.
You know, of like that. And it's also about even the way we present ourselves and dress. You both dress differently, and that's comfortable for you and you're confident in that, and that's comfortable for you and you're confident in that, right? And so I think people do have to just be who they are, dress how they are, and then that way they're going to have confidence. Confidence is... well, they say confidence is sexy, but that doesn't really make sense right now in this conversation, right? But confidence is... what is it? Confidence
inspiring,
it's infectious.
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 Yeah.
Just like your energy before, when you raised your energy up, it made me want to smile. And I find that a lot with people, you know. And that's, I don't think I've been untrue to myself when I sort of I prime myself. I start to raise my energy up to be around certain groups of people. Sometimes it might be a networking group that I go to. And I'm trying to be myself, but I'm trying to elevate that, to 8 or 9 or 10 points. So that, because people people respond really well to that.
It's so much fun, right?
Yes, there you go. See?
When you
and
do
you've just
that.
made me smile because you've raised your energy.
Yeah.
And it's like
So
so
very
exciting.
Yeah.
I went
so
to
funny.
a networking event with what you go to, and so and I was like so super excited about it, and it was just like amazing. And then it actually can change the whole dynamics of the room. So even though the same type of people can come to an event, and then you come in or walk in and all that, you know what you're always saying, and then it just changes the whole
And that
dynamics.
can be a positive or a negative. Like we've been in rooms where the energy is high, and then someone walks in and it they just kill the energy. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
Just,
I try not to subscribe to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody, and there's always going to be someone like, look, that's okay, they're where they are, but let's keep the energy up.
Absolutely.
And that is a positive. It's an example of a way to make a contribution to someone's life. To raise their energy, inspire them, even if it's just for the day.
I know. We went to petrol station, right? So it's an exciting place, as you can imagine. And I remembered the girl's name, and I said, "Oh, hello, blah blah." And she was like, "Wow, no one remembers my name. You know, I really appreciate that, right?" And it just changed how she just
probably for the rest of the day.
For the rest of the day.
Just something small like that. Can make a huge difference.
Isn't that a beautiful way to make a contribution?
Yeah, it's so special. You can have that just by one word, or it's just amazing that you can impact that. So I guess that's what Mr. Perfect's about, where it's impacting lives in a social context, and it's non-judgmental. I love that because, you know, when you...
All men are welcome.
Don't you think, like, when you're actually having a conversation and you know they're judgmental, you're just like, you know what?
Go back, would you? You know, if
you're just like, no. I have 4 children, so you can see like there's this whole judgment on because they thought I only had 1 child, right? Like, so my 4th child, they were like, "Oh, is that your first child?" Oh, I'm like, "Oh no, it's my 4th." And so at the start, this lady wanted to tell me all about, I don't know, how to put a blanket on, right? And I was like, "Oh, okay," and I was very polite. Then she wanted to know the child's name, and then I said my other children's name. Then she realised, oh, you've got 4. Oh, you must just know what you're doing. So it went from like, oh, this is the first child, you need to know how to put a blanket on, to you totally know what you're doing, you know?
Interesting. That's interesting.
And it's such a flip of like a couple of seconds of... You know, so it's just interesting how, like, and when you're talking to someone that is judgmental, and it just changes what you want to say, what you want to open up about, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you want to say to that? Because you're saying,
When people, I come across judgmental people all the time. That's okay. It's just where they are. You know, again, I don't have to subscribe to that. I just step aside and move on with my day. Sometimes we have to deal with these people. We can't avoid it. In business, in our in the clubs that we're members of, they're just there, and it's part of accepting everybody for who they are. You know, that inclusiveness.
With Mr. Perfect. It's the second Sunday of each month.
Yeah, the Safety Bay, Mr. Perfect, second Sunday of every month.
And whereabouts is it?
So, you're familiar with the big white 3-storey block of units there on Safety Bay Road, number 436? Yeah. Next to the new shopping centre that's going in where the BP is,
Okay.
Right across the road there. It's a great spot. Right in front of the beach. We've got a huge parking lot with toilets there, with 6 barbecues, undercover areas.
Wow.
It's just a picturesque location. It's perfect for it, actually.
That's
absolutely
nice.
And what time does that kick off?
Yeah.
10:30 a.m. Yeah, it's every second Sunday. So the next one coming up is on the 8th of December. Hope everybody's pulled their calendars out.
Yep.
8th of December.
Yeah.
We'll have to make sure we go to that.
I want you to come.
And it's only for
you'll love
men,
it.
though,
I
right?
wanted to come last month.
That's
8th of
and because we were
December.
doing a Bunning sausage sizzle a few months ago, and we had some guy come up and he told us about Mr. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And then we met you. And then
Really?
Darren, obviously I know Darren from Kalamunda one, so yeah, I definitely feel...
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 8th of December, and so it's for men, right? And they can bring their children. Is that what you were
Absolutely, yeah.
saying? Yeah.
Absolutely, that's fine.
Okay.
But it is a men's only event. We don't have any ladies there.
Yeah, so I can't come. So
You can
But
go and
Tristan-
you can come with Tristan, but you can sort of wait over at the beach. And go for a
Just
wander.
stay over there in the corner.
On the odd occasion, a lady's misread the ad or come with a partner mistakenly,
yeah.
and I've had to just pull them aside very gently and say, "Hey, look, go for a walk." Or something.
I mean, like Men Shed, which is
yeah.
another organisation that does a lot of stuff in that kind of area. And a few years ago, that there was a ripple from women who were saying, "This isn't fair. This is sexist. We want to join."
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
about being sexist at all. No.
No,
but
it's
I mean,
not.
it's like
It's
just
honouring the fact that we are
Yeah.
different. There's
Yeah.
men different to women.
and I think the dynamics of the conversation would be different. If women were
Totally.
there, you know.
Yeah.
So it was kind of sad that women, given that mental health is such a huge issue for men, and what came off of that, I think, is they created Women's Shed.
Yes.
So
that's awesome.
that's awesome. But
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
great.
they did, yeah.
I just find that men express themselves differently
Yeah.
when it's just a masculine energy around. Just one female energy can change that dynamic completely. And interestingly enough, when I arrived at the Kalamunda barbecue yesterday, there was a lady there, and somebody had misread the ad,
Oh, okay.
and there was already a group of men there, and the primary group was to the right. And there was a very small group with the lady on the left, and that's it's just a ripple. It's an energetic thing that men don't feel comfortable to open up. So I mean, I dealt with that pretty quickly. But yeah, and it's part of creating that safe space. It's not a sexist thing at all. Yeah, we're trying to give men the best chance to open up and express themselves.
And I think it's important that both Mr. Perfect and Men Shed remain men only, because
definitely.
then you can have that conversation that's honest without,
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
other things coming in.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, no, that's an important, valid fact. Otherwise, they're not going to get the best out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
They're just a little bit more reserved, or they'll communicate in a different way. They won't go deep.
Yeah.
I do, and I just see I'm lucky. I get to cook the snags and play host and run around and give them drinks and give them snags. You ask any guy that comes to my barbecue, they leave so full. But as I wander around and I sort of tune into different conversations that are happening, they're diving to different depths, depending on what they are, whatever the topic is, and that's what we're trying to promote.
How is Mr. Perfect funded?
So it is a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
So Mr. Perfect. In the last few years, there's been a couple of big insurance companies have been ticking their KPIs and donating to Mr. Perfect. I think they're looking for big corporate sponsors at the moment. I'm not a member of the board there, but from what I see in the minutes, they're looking at taking on corporate sponsors. In our case, I'm a Rotarian as well here in Rockingham, and the Rotary Club of Rockingham kindly donates money towards advertising, which is on the Meetup app primarily, and I get about 30% of men coming from the Meetup app, which is amazing.
Okay.
Awesome.
And the Rotary Club of Rockingham also helps with some incidentals if we need some extra supplies or consumables for the event. And they also come in and help me on the tools sometimes, which is really cool.
Oh, wow.
We get 3, 4 or 5 Rotarians there helping me with the barbecue, which is I'm very proud of those guys. Yeah. It's a privilege, yeah.
That's awesome. And that was something else we wanted to talk about this morning was,
Sure.
Your work at Rotary.
Yes.
So you mentioned you've got coming up you're looking for sort of 18 to 25-year-old for the program, is it? Rotary as an organisation run what's called the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, RYLA. Now, it's effectively a leadership camp. 18 to 28-year-olds go away for 8 days and learn a lot of leadership skills that set them up for the rest of their lives.
Perfect.
Now, there isn't a single person that I've come across that has ever spoken badly of RYLA. I come across people that say, wow, I did that 30 years ago or 20 years ago, and my God, it changed my life. It is an enormous privilege to be able to go to that youth camp. Anyway, I'm after one more young person to sponsor. We've already got one. We generally sponsor two for this event. And applications close at the end of this month. So if there
That's
is
this week, isn't it?
Yeah, getting very close. So, so I am after an 18 to 28-year-old. They do get interviewed and vetted, of course. But I'd welcome the contact.
How do they find out more about it? And where do they go to, or how do they find you?
So you can contact me directly. Can I give you my details?
Yeah. Definitely. That's what this is about. No, I'm just joking. Okay, go. Well, Facebook, go.
First of all, I'm on Facebook, Carlos Garcia, or you can search the Rotary Club of Rockingham on Facebook, or you can contact me directly. Send me text messages if you like. 0419 775 555.
Cool. Awesome.
But it'd be fantastic to sponsor another young person for that camp. It would be brilliant.
And do you have any preference for male or female, or?
Oh, no preference. No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Just someone who's keen on leadership.
It's a co-ed camp, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's run by youth that have already been through the camp and by Rotarians. That's out at Jarrahdale, that camp, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
That is good.
And you also work in real estate, is that right?
Oh, yes.
You want to give that a plug as well?
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
What do you work for yourself? Or
I do indeed, yeah.
So you're the licensee?
Yes, I am indeed.
Okay.
Yeah. My agency is WA Property Sales.
Okay.
And I primarily sell residential real estate north-south in the hills, so I'm quite mobile. I'll go up to Lancelin, down to Bunbury, out to York.
Okay, cool.
I spend a lot of time driving around from property to property. And I'm 100% referral based, so I don't know where the next listing is going to come from, which is quite lovely. Yeah.
So do you just do the selling and the buying, or do you do the property management side of things?
Selling,
what is it that you just concentrate on?
I had an agency prior that had property management primarily, but then I've sold that agency and started the new agency, which is sales only.
Okay,
it's good to specialise, absolutely, in sales.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's a website that'd go to?
Oh, absolutely. WApropertysales.com.au.
Okay.
Nice and simple.
I've never had to actually repeat my email address to anybody. You know how some people have really complicated email addresses?
It's nice and simple.
It's simple. I say Carlos at wapropertysales.com.au. And that's a good name.
And that is CARLOS.
That's it.
That's right. Not with a K, but with a C, yeah?
Good to clarify that, though, isn't it? So what's your take on the property in WA at the moment?
At the moment, that's really interesting because we're peaking. The market is peaking everywhere. The last few home opens I've had, I haven't seen a single investor. It's been people looking to occupy themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and home opens, less numbers, inquiries, less numbers from buyers over east. I think Perth has finally gotten expensive for them, so that there's a lot less of them.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
So no investors, but it's basically people
Less
buying
investors.
for their own home.
Yeah. Well, that's just been that was for the last 4 home opens that I ran this past week and the week prior. There wasn't a single investor in the group, and nor in the inquiry. So, and I collaborate with a lot of people in the industry, mortgage brokers, other agents, property managers, buyers agents, accountants as well. Anything to do with property, and everybody's seeing the same trends everywhere, and that's north, south, hills. Things are slowing down. We're starting to peak now, which probably just means I'd say in the next 6 months we're going to see more listings available, and it'll generally be the apartments with strata attached to them that'll come on first, which happens to be my workload at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, in 6 months, I think there's going to be less buyers and more properties becoming available.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's a couple of issues at the moment with the homelessness factor as well. So there's a lot of people, and like when there's been home opens for rentals, there's been like 30 or 40 applicants for every house.
And the rentals have peaked as well from the property managers I collaborate with. People aren't paying ridiculous money anymore. There isn't 40 people out the door, which has been the case for the last couple of years, which means that the rentals have topped out as well in terms of price point. The market's it's pretty scary. I think if people couldn't afford to buy a home 2 years ago, and they're definitely not going to do it for a very long time now, because it's gotten so expensive.
Yeah,
the market's doubled or tripled in so many cases.
It's ridiculous. We were looking the other day,
prices.
and it's really expensive.
Absolutely, it's sad for the young ones. It just makes it harder for them to get in.
Yeah, and also the older ones, because there's lots of separations happening. And so I'm finding within the community that when there's separations that are happening, then obviously the male has been working, the female has been doing the other things that are just as important, and they might not have as much super to put towards, because you can use super. And yeah, so that's what's actually happening as well, because one of my friends has formed a group to help women that are over, I think 50, that aren't able to buy a house, and then they're separating so that's like also a trend that's happening. So like the younger ones, there's that happening, but then there's also over 50s that they are separating and they don't have a place to go, and then they are trying to sell and navigate the separation type of.
It's very complicated.
That's another thing, yeah.
Separation can come at any age. And there was a gentleman at the Mr. Perfect barbecue the other month that is in his mid-70s and separating.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing he ever expected.
Wow. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole can of worms in that. Hey, like it's like just the separation, but then there's so much that follows after that, and the ripple effect.
Yeah, and
on
you don't
both.
plan for it. It's kind of like you're just discovering what's coming next.
Yeah.
I went through my separation, it was a hard time for me as well.
Yeah.
And generally it was men's groups and men's sheds that supported me through those years.
And there is a lot of community organisations out there. So if you are listening, contact us at IPL Radio, because we've got a lot of contacts that can help with all different aspects with help out there. So we
definitely, if you're a man and you're free on the second Sunday of the month, then there's a really cool place to go where you can be around other men and just talk about what's going on.
I know, so important.
It's a great vibe. It is. It's a beautiful location, right in front of the beach there. Great music, good food. I even give them a few cupcakes.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
They love that. Yeah.
Did you make them or you brought them?
No, I go to Spuds. Ginger beers all round and smiles all round, and it's a very positive event. That's the whole. That's my flavour. You'll find that if you go to other Mr. Perfect barbecues, there's a different flavour, because it'll be a different host, different food, different butcher. Everything's different, and it's up to the host to set the tone for the event. So my event is very positive and supportive.
And with your Mr. Perfect shirt, because you've got a Mr. Perfect shirt that you wear.
Bonafide perfect.
Do you then, what types of comments do you get, and when do you choose to wear it?
From the ladies, I get, "Oh, there you are." No such thing. It's a bit of a conversation starter sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely would be.
Sorry,
where do you wear it? Like, do you selectively go, okay, I'm going here, so I'm wearing this shirt?
Oh, so I always wear it for the event.
Yeah, okay.
Or
Oh, really?
When,
No,
when I go to another event, I'll wear it as a host because it distinguishes us from the group, and the people can come and talk to us, of course.
Okay.
And on the odd occasion, if there's like the event we went to, if we're going to set up a stall or something, I'll wear it then. With a hat.
Get a promotion and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wear it on that thing, so it's not like an everyday thing that you want to wear it, or like,
no, it is kind
whenever.
of like a uniform, I guess. Maybe I could wear it more often. But it is kind of a uniform, I guess, yeah. When you go to the barbecues, you'll see the hosts wearing the Mr. Perfect shirts. With the hats, and we'll have flags up and banners.
Do they have them for sale as well, so people can buy
good
them?
question.
I think if you shot us an email, we'd probably send you one for free.
Oh, okay. I don't think I could wear that, but you could wear that.
We could do some photos at IPL for you.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be so cool, right?
Yeah, that would be awesome, yeah.
That would
I'm
be.
sure the guys at Mr. Perfect would be more than happy. I've got a stock of caps as well.
Oh, yes. Yes. Because that is another thing. I've seen someone using that as a marketing strategy with caps, but it has his slogan on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a different thing. But it's like, and it just captures it. Wearing a hat is all different, right?
Yeah, it promotes the event. It pushes the name, starts that conversation.
Yeah.
Like when I am a Mr. Perfect host, I'm not a real estate agent anymore. I'm a Rotarian. Is that my alarm? That is. And the guys at Rotary come along in their shirts, and we certainly support the club that supports the barbecue.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
it's just about getting the Mr. Perfect name out there. I'm just a host helping guys connect on that day.
That's awesome. And it must be really rewarding, like you said, that you've seen some of the stories, some of the ups and downs of some of the guys that come on. So that must be really, really cool.
I've never had negative feedback from anyone at all.
It's good.
People are always really grateful, supportive, and they come back. That's what I love, and it's an open door. If you like you said, you might come next month, and I want you there. But if you couldn't make it, you can come the month after, or the month after that. I will be there with a snag ready for you, mate.
Awesome. How can I resist that now?
I know, right?
I try to be welcoming when they come in, because it's bloody hard to get to an event like that as a man. I confess that when I went to my first Mr. Perfect barbecue in Fremantle, I didn't make it. I drove up and I got within 50 metres of the barbecue and just sat in the car and thought, should I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I? No, I'm going home. And I went home. I came back the month after and actually made it into the event. And I actually see a lot of men sitting in the car park.
Really?
Yeah, they're sort of scoping it out. Who are these guys? Are they a bunch of weirdos? What's going on here, sort of thing? And then they'll see us talking, see us chatting. They'll see a couple of guys walking up or getting out of the car. It'll take one or two to get out of the car, and then 5 or 6 will get out of the car at the same time.
Wow.
And just
it's like a domino effect.
Yeah, it is. It is. So I'm always keeping an eye out for them, because it takes a lot of courage to walk up to a group of men you don't know, especially if you don't have the confidence to do it, or you're quite isolated. So I try to be as welcoming. As soon as I see them walking up, I grab a ginger beer, put it in their hands, welcome, big smile, lots of energy, and I offer to introduce them to somebody. Or a snag.
Oh, yeah.
They're eating a snag before they even get into it.
So if we've got listeners there out there and they're sitting in that car, or they're thinking about,
please come over.
your words.
Please come over.
How can you not come with that?
I know, but what would be, so say someone's sitting in their car and they're like, okay, I heard them talking about this and I should just open my car door and just walk out, but there's something stopping me. And so what would be some words of inspiration or words of wisdom that you can tell them that they can have resonate in their mind to make them take that courage
You'll be
step?
completely welcomed. Everybody is welcome, and you'll be met with nothing but a snag and a ginger beer and big smiles. Yeah, we try to be very welcoming. Absolutely. Awesome. So they do not have to worry. I know it's 50 metres sometimes from the car to the barbecue, and that is really hard. I know, but they'll find nothing but good men there.
Okay.
And new friends.
Cool. Yes.
Yes. New friends, and we'll be there every month, of course. And that's actually been another fantastic point. A lot of the guys that I know, they've become friends outside of Mr. Perfect.
Oh, they have.
Friends on Facebook, they connect, they go and do things together. And that's wonderful to know that I helped to be part of that in some way.
Do you kind of see people and their personality types, and then you think you would be really suited to connect with this person? Like, do you do that?
I read people. I'm a real estate agent. I've done it for many years, 26 years. I've learned to read people very well. So depending on how they respond to me, where their energy is up to, how communicative they are, I will just sort of shift them over into different conversations. So you have to meet Darren, or you have to meet Joe Blow, and I'll put them together. Then I'll just watch that the spark starts and the conversation starts, and then I'll walk away. Yeah. So I do try to connect them with the best people. Even Donna from our Rotary Club brought her dad last month, which was fantastic. He's an elderly gentleman. And he had the best time. he was so reserved initially, but I connected him with a few people. He made great friends, and he's coming back next month. Very, very grateful man. I really loved having him there. So, I won't just give you a snag. I'll try to connect you and start a conversation with you.
And I guess that makes you a perfect host of it to do all the play on the words. But that is, isn't it? Like, because a host isn't just someone that says welcome and everything. A host is ideally connecting and saying you would really like to talk to this person.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, my job, I think, is to make everybody feel as comfortable and as welcome as possible. And hopefully get a lot out of it. Feel, walk away feeling positive with a bit of a spring in your step. That's what I would hope. Yeah, all the men experience. Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll just go over the contacts again. So is there a Facebook page for Mr. Perfect?
There is a Mr. Perfect community page. You can look that up relatively easily.
Is that one for Secret Harbour specifically?
No,
it's all the groups. It's
all
the groups that sort of post in there, and some of the guys will post some of their pictures from their barbecues there. You can go to the Mr. Perfect website, which is mrperfect.org.au. Okay.
And it's spelt the actual perfect word, isn't it? It's not.
Perfect, yeah.
And Emma, like Mr.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's correct. mrperfect, mrperfect.org.au. You'll find all of the information you need about the organisation there. You'll see where all of the barbecues are being held and what time. You'll get to meet the host. There's a bit of a profile there on the hosts. And again, about the philosophies we've discussed, why it's there and what we're doing out there in the world.
And it's so important.
I believe so. I really believe in it, and you'll catch me talking to the guys and being the same person I am with you here at that event, because I'm very passionate about it.
Absolutely. And do you want to just give out your phone number again?
Sure. My direct number, you're welcome to call me or text me. My mobile number is 0419 775 555.
Perfect.
And that's the best way of contacting you, is it?
Yeah, look, I'm happy to have a conversation direct. Yeah. Whether it's Mr. Perfect, it's Rotary, it's real estate, I'm just happy to connect with people. Absolutely.
Awesome.
And I think one of the things when you're going to something like that and you're just walking into a crowd of people you don't know before, at least having a phone conversation with you or with someone
definitely
means that you can look out for them, and then that's going to make it easier for them to walk in, right?
Exactly right. So that's why I welcome it. I'll just, just reassure them and encourage them that they're in a safe space. And we are a good group of guys.
Yeah. So I want to reflect on that. So I met you, but I didn't really know you, right? Then I went to an event, and then they were talking about Carlos, and he's really like this. He's this really helpful guy. Oh, right. And he's really nice, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah. And then your name got dropped again, and you needed to talk to.
Jackie mentioned you as well.
Okay, well, hello, I didn't want to say. And then they were talking about, oh yeah, Carlos helped me with this and this, because you must have helped Anne, I think, as well, find something. Yeah, and so that, okay, if we're saying names, then yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then suddenly this name of like Mr. Perfect or something came up, and then I was like, oh, is that the guy that wears that Mr. Perfect shirt? Yes. And then I made it realise who you were. Yes. I didn't actually know. So to me, I was just interviewing you and asking more about Mr. Perfect. And we did also then ask Davina about the Rotary. And then, but then being outside of that, talking to my friends, your name came up, and it showed that you're a nice person, and that you're a go-to person, and you're really, really helpful. You really help change their life and help, better their life, just letting you know. so then I wanted the audience to know that, like, so that's the other side of you, you know, like that's still you, but the other side of you was talking about Mr. Perfect, and I was interviewing you with this microphone in your face, and then like on the other side I was hearing about this other person, which is the same person. And so when people are talking to you, they are getting just a genuine person that's nice, wanting to help, and coming from a heart that wants to help and give back, and you know, and look after people's mental health as well as, you know, any way that you can help them.
I appreciate it, honouring. Thank you so much. I do try my best to help people. I primarily spend my life, contributing to the community, networking and selling real estate. I just think there has to be a balance there. You know, I draw an income from the community, and I want to give it back. And I'm stronger now than I was years ago when I went through my separation, and when I've had sort of down moments in my life. And I feel like I've got a responsibility to now help others, you know, that aren't as strong.
That's often when you go through something, you know, particularly with mental health, often you want to give back, you want to be able to help people go through something like that. We might just kind of finish it up there, but do you have anything else that you wanted to cover, or any kind of parting comments to encourage people to come before we...
I'm very grateful to be here and privileged to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming.
And if, like I said, all good men are welcome, and in my view, all men are good. So please, any men out there thinking, oh, should I go or shouldn't I go? I really encourage you to come along. You'll be completely welcomed, and I welcome your energy into the space. I think, especially the older guys, the younger ones, us younger ones, can learn a lot from our mentors. So we can't learn if you're not there. So come along.
And it's the first step, isn't it? But potentially the rest of your life, and you know, you can make connections there that are going to be helpful in the long term.
Absolutely. And hopefully you'll make some great friends.
It's just making that first step.
Out of the car and towards the barbecue.
Yeah. And to know you're worth it, and that there's people that are going to help you and be supportive. You know,
So it'll be 8th of December at Safety Bay, across from 436 Safety Bay Road, where the BP is, and you'll see a banner that says Mr. Perfect. You'll see a big flag and a Rotary flag, and you'll see me with my Mr. Perfect shirt on and a hat on as well.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Look forward to it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Want to put a song on?
Yes, we're going to listen to Fresh Eyes by Andy Grammer. Enjoy.